going to go ahead and change this to mouse over, just to see if that makes any difference. Yeah, we've got that. Okay, so let's try this. Yeah, okay, right, okay. So let me just explain how I fixed that, and then I'll tell you how stupid I am. So we've got focus in here. We'll change this to mouse over, which I guess is a better event handler for this here. Focus in would be for something like a text field or a text area, you know, sort of anything like that, that we focus in either by clicking on or tabbing to. Mouse over is obviously we're using our mouse and we're going over an element. The other thing that I didn't do is I set, well, we'll see with just changing mouse over, we don't have any div displayed. And this is because using var here, this title variable belongs to this function here. And when we apply it in title in another function, it's not globally available. So by removing var, we just have this title equals something, which means it's globally available to be used here. So when we refresh, it's, you know, available and it's happily working again. So yeah, that was a bit long-winded, and we had a couple of problems with obviously dealing with the code, and I moved things around and changed things around. But you know, it goes to show that you probably got annoyed at, you know, some of you might have been shouting at the screen, but eventually we fixed it, and it just goes to show that fiddling with things and thinking logically, which I'm obviously not, you know, just goes to help. So essentially, now that we've created our plugin, that's it. You know, we've outlined our plugin and we've used this and etc, etc, etc. We could go on to, for example, change some kind of setting. I'm not going to go too much into defining settings sort of, you know, normally, but what happens if we wanted to create a, say, Boolean parameter which you would fade in or not fade in? So we could supply, say, true to fade in, or false not to fade in, or just not supply it at all. So inside of here, what we want to do is we want to take a parameter in our function. So we could say, for example, fade. And what we could do is we could go ahead and, instead of using show here, we could get rid of that. And we could create an if statement which would supply, say, for example, if fade equals true, then we would want to say hash hovertext dot fade in, and then we could fade it in, say, fast or something. Otherwise, we could go ahead and say hash hovertext dot show. So now what's happening is we're allowing the user to sort of submit this parameter fade, which can be either true or false. If it is equal to true, then we fade in. Otherwise, we could say if fade is equal to false, then show, or fade equals undefined. So fade equals undefined would be to not supply it. We could say false anyway, and that would mean that we don't fade in. So let's just try it out first of all with nothing in here. Let's refresh and hover over, and something's gone wrong once again. Let's just double check there. If fade is equal to true, oh no, sorry, I've supplied this in the completely wrong place. No, I haven't. So function fade fade equals true. Maybe we do need to supply it in here, so lots of things are going wrong. No, not at all. Let's just go back to plugin and let's double check this. Fade in show. Oh, sorry, else if. Okay, right, so you can really shout at the screen now. Okay, so now we've just got our normal showing, you know, no animation going on. If I was to change this to false, we would also obviously get the same effect where nothing fades in. But if we change this to true, the parameter that we've taken, which is fade, is obviously set to true now, so we fade in fast rather than just showing. So when we refresh, we actually just, you can see it sort of fading in, so it looks a bit nicer. So that's an example of just basic parameter passing or argument passing inside of your plugin. There are much more advanced techniques, so go ahead to the jQuery documentation and have a look at how you would pass, you know, more advanced option variables to your plugin. But for now, that's just a simple plugin. We've spent longer than we should have probably debugging it, but then again, that's just life. It does actually happen. So I hope you enjoyed creating this kind of plugin. Go ahead and feel free to start making your own plugins. It's quite fun, and I hope that sort of helped you with the fact that I couldn't actually write the code out and I was messing around a bit. But there we go, that's it. But yep, your first plugin, or something that's a bit more advanced than you might usually create, but nevertheless it works and it's quite